Gene Basler here, Houston, Texas, inspecting some boxwoods. It's October in Houston, and I have with me Eric Honeycutt, Diagnostic Services Manager at the Bartlett Research Laboratory in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going to take a look at some of these boxwoods. I have a lot of trouble with boxwoods turning brown. This one right here, I note, has turned somewhat reddish. Okay, these are very susceptible to mites, root knot nematodes. Phytophthora root rot is probably their biggest enemy, and I would suggest that the fattest, juiciest, healthiest boxwoods I've ever seen are not on irrigation, at least in this town. As a matter of fact, my crews are pruning some this morning about 6 miles northwest of here that are about 11 feet tall, and we're trying to get them back down to about 9 feet tall, and they're not on irrigation. So let's take a look at this. This is something, Eric, tell me about what you found here with this.
This plant right here, just taking a look at it, a boxwood with a healthy, vigorous root system is not going to be easily pulled from the ground like this. I mean, you won't have the movement. The root system of this plant is obviously decayed. Now, we would normally test for Phytophthora root rot. Phytophthora is a soil-borne plant pathogen that decays roots. There are various ways we can do that. We in the lab, we use an ELISA kit, enzyme-linked immunoabsorbent assay, to test for Phytophthora. We can also culture it out on alga media as well, and we can do both of them. So in a case like this, what I would recommend doing is actually pulling root samples of plants that are in decline or show symptoms of dieback, yellow chlorotic foliage, and actually test the plants for Phytophthora root rot before the treatment is prescribed. The soil looks like it's really wet.
Yeah, I noticed it's really super saturated.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, this is early morning sun, it's lousy for filming, but this soil is super saturated, and I also note that we've got a lot of exposed surface roots here, and there's no mulch. Is that a contributing factor to predispose these guys to stress?
I don't think, I'm not so concerned about that more than I am, as much as I am just the fact that these plants, some of these plants do not have a good root system. Look at this plant right here that doesn't really show any of the dieback, and I really can't move it as much as I can.
Like that one you could easily pluck out of the ground.
Right, I can pull this one out with very little effort. I don't want to do that in this case.
So this one right here is hardly moving. So these less stressed specimens that don't have any real symptoms on them have much more firmly established root systems, I see.
Right, yeah. You would make you can draw that conclusion.
Now, if I were to send in the same sample to test for Phytophthora, would you be able to examine it for nematodes as well?
We can look at the roots for nematodes. Usually at the lab, what we do is we prefer a soil sample so that we can send it off for nematode analysis.
Okay.
These look like heavy soils. I've not really dug into it, but they look like heavy soils.
I'll give you the analysis.
Oh, okay. I don't suspect that nematodes are probably a big issue here. We see nematode problems on light sandy soils more than we do heavier clay soils.
Okay, so I'm less likely to encounter nematodes in the clay soils. Is there a pH predisposition for nematodes?
I don't think that's a big factor.
Okay.
I mean, you can find nematodes in heavy clay soils, but the fact that clay soils retain water better than sand, you're not going to find, the plants aren't going to be damaged as badly by nematode populations unless the populations are just extremely high.
Okay. All right, so a couple of these are pretty close to dead. Do you think we can just get away with pluck? Let's go ahead and pluck it out and look at the roots.
Well, let's go back over here to this setup.
All right.
So if you look, I mean, this soil is waterlogged almost. I mean,
Yeah.
it's to the point of saturation. So if you look at these roots, you see how black, brown they are. And if you look, take a look at that root. And if you really look at this root, you could even see how easily it breaks. You can almost pull the root sheath off.
Oh, I see that.
That's a symptom of Phytophthora root rot.
You see where the root sheath just pulls readily off? Can we do a field test for that?
Do you have the field test kits?
Yeah, I think I might have some in the trunk of my car.
Yeah, let's do one.
Stay tuned for part 2.